Just give it a couple minutes to catch up. Now, if this video goes out of sync, it's my NBN or whatever, I don't know what's causing it, so I'll wait for notification to let me know that we're live, and hopefully we'll get through this live without too much, because I've noticed my videos are going out of sync. Something's happening at a certain point and then the audio is not syncing up with the videos, but we'll see. I'm waiting for the connection. Here comes the connection. A bit slow that it is, but it's coming. So, what a day. I'm going to read the Say No 7's post, because I can tell you now, we're going nuts, being slammed every which way we can from people who cannot seem to understand that Labor will scrap the cashless debit card if they're elected. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. You'll have to excuse me if I'm a bit sarky tonight, because I'm getting sick of all these people going, bah, 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 bah. Well, are you against the card or are you for the card? So I'm going to read this and then we'll discuss it a little bit. So the fight is about knowing the difference between right and wrong and acting on that information. This struggle, this agenda, it is beyond any bipartisanship or allegiance. Since the beginning, our groups and pages, our movement itself has been one willing to embrace people from across the political spectrum. We've even had people from 4 different parties yelling no card at protests, standing side by side together, setting self aside for the sake of the righteous cause. And that is what it will take to end this card. A unique unity of purpose, a willingness to set aside petty politicking and put people and what is right first, before what is convenient, satisfying and comfortable. That maturity is, I suppose, our only requirement here, is standing as we are at the nexus of many parties and social justice and political causes. And it is this way because all roads lead here to this one fight, whether we like it or not. Cashless debit card and forced income management legislation embodies and represents the worst of all of the injustices in this nation, be they political, social or moral. Without basic personal freedom, without empowered self-determination, everything else, every other cause will fall and fail. Right? Right now, we're fighting a force that has all the money, all the power, and all the intention of doing us harm. We don't have time to entertain the immaturity of those who do not know, who don't comprehend, or those who are simply too young to see what is truly at stake if we fail. We can fight this force and we can win if we stand together. We don't have to approve or even like each other to do that. We just have to be grown-ups. If we've shown nothing else over our 6 years of effort here, we hope that we've shown just that, and that fighting back is not only possible, victory is more than just potential, it is inevitable. Alright, so Amanda wrote this, okay, and I agree, I'm the same. I'm just a mum, like many of you, a person with a disability. She's caring for an angry, disabled child, hoping for a better future. I've stood up the forces against us fiercely every day, and I'm not afraid to fight on. My terms for that commitment are written above, that I do not and will not care that what you personally believe or think about politics, all right, or the people who are standing with us to fight this card, only that you are willing to set aside your shit and stand with us to fight it. Everything else is your business. So I'll ask you, please, don't make your business mine, and don't undermine this movement in your vanity exercises, immaturity and ignorance. Okay? That's fine, Bernadette. Left, right, up, down, sideways. This card policy and the people behind it don't give a shit about your belief systems or who you think you are or ever who you vote for. LNP, FON, the Nationals voters, members are on the cards, just the same as ALP and Greens voters are. The forces behind this policy don't care who you vote for, and in that we cannot afford to either. We can only tell you what we know will end this card. Any decision you make on that information is in your hands, and so are the consequences and the outcomes. Please be mindful that myself, our mods, and NCDCA admins and mods are just human beings. We're doing our best, walking often blindfold in a minefield with little to no political, fiscal or personal support. I'm just a mum, a person, and while I have many strong shields these days against the forces we are fighting, I have no special suit of armour to protect me from the abuses of our supposed allies that I've faced in the last 2 weeks. So just today, and for this one time, I must ask you as a favour that you respect my humanity too. Now, and as I've respected yours, and keep your nitpicking and bickering off our pages and feeds. Okay? All right, we are here to fight for the people, not the political parties. We will continue to defend and promote the facts. And when we post, that is our only agenda. We are here to ensure the government upholds the basic rights of all Australians, even those who would harm us or ridicule us, especially theirs. My life and my ability to continue in this struggle in capacity I have depends on the simple human request that you leave your personal political stuff at the door when you pick up a no-card banner and stop using us, card holders, and this grave issue as a football for personal egotism. Thank you, Amanda SN7. And she's put on it, fuck your selfish inhumanity, I will not be silenced. This comes from days and days and days of stupid bloody comments, right, that are driving us nuts. Okay, and I'm going to go through some of them. I'm getting sick of on the pages, on our page here. All right, we shared Milandari McCarthy's post that Labor will scrap the cashless debit card if elected. Labor does not support compulsory income management. I don't know how to spell this out any clearer. And it's frustrating because there's a lot of people that I feel like, do I have to do it in baby speak? I don't understand why this concept is so hard for so many to understand. We've fought for 6 years, right? Labor originally supported the trials based on information they were given by the Liberal Party. All right, but by 2017, they pulled their partisan support and they didn't support the card anymore. Okay? Yes, there was an instance of it was extended because the FRC program basics card was merged with the cashless debit card, and the funding for that FRC basics card program in the Cape York was coming to an end, and the government wedged Labor. And Labor didn't, they stuffed up. They should have demanded the bills be split, and it didn't get split. So the card got extended, right? But since then, they have voted against it over and over and over and over. They have voted with the Greens, right, against the card. Now, we've got Rachel Seawart's been an absolute hero, and she's fought her ass off. No one's forgetting what she's done, and she's going to be sorely missed, right? But at least Labor's now come round the whole way, the whole lot. And I'm going to keep saying it every night, okay? Because we need to change this government. Now, with stupid comments like, and I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I mean, as soon as it was announced, it was going, where is it? I don't see it in the media. And it's all over the friggin' media. You know what I mean? We're just getting bits and pieces of crap. But, you know, it's exhausting. It really is. Do you want to get rid of the card? Yes. What do we need to do it? Change the government. What do we need to do that? Vote the ALP in. Vote the Greens into the Senate. Make sure, but we need to change the government. Greens can't raise 76 seats in the House of Reps. Sorry, they've got one. They can't take 76 seats. They certainly can't push Keith Pitt off his perch in Hinkler. Okay, I'm sorry, they just can't do it. In staunch national and LNP strongholds like Hinkler region, you need to put your primary vote behind the strongest opposition candidate. And that will be an ALP candidate, right? It's called maths. It's called logic. And then give your second vote to the Greens. And if you're voting in the Senate, give your vote to the Greens and the ALP and whichever progressives you want. And just keep the LNP and One Nation and their minor little parties that are going to float bloody preferences to them out of the picture. All right, this is driving me nuts every day with people bashing ALP or people bashing the Greens, but more so bashing the ALP. Now, what do you guys want? All we've heard is we don't hear ALP saying anything in public. So when they come out and actually stand up, when it's on video, when we sit there and we watch the Senate debates and we watch every ALP senator stand up and diss this card and everything like that, and people going, oh, it's like we have, you know, it's lost me. We shared live the debates in December and the vote. Did no one see that Labor senators fought as hard as what Rachel did as well, right? All of them fought against the card. The people that voted for the card, in fact, they didn't even vote for it, they just didn't turn up for the vote, was Centre Alliance. They were the ones that have caused it to be extended another 2 years, not Labor. Labor voted against it. The Greens voted against it. God, even Jackie Lambie voted against it. Right? Centre Alliance are the ones here that kicked this along for another 2 years. It could have finished in December if it wasn't for Centre Alliance. Right? What we're trying to do is just explain to people, right? This is just crazy. Do we want to get rid of the cashless debit card? Yes. Right? Do we want to protect Medicare? Yes. Do we want to keep our NDIS, right? And not be throwing people with disabilities off of it? Of course we want to keep that. Do we want better funding for our public schools and our hospitals? Yes, of course we do. Right? Do we want services for our people? Domestic violence services, right? Community services and stuff like that? Of course we do. We need those things. So why start all this nitpicking all the time? We need to change the government to get those things. And the only way you're going to get those things is to change the government. Right, and the only party that we can change to at the moment, because we have a duopoly, right, is the ALP. But the Greens will also back up progressive policies, right? You know what I mean? We need them to do it too. But I'm getting sick of all this nitpicking, right? It's up to you guys what you want, but, I mean, I'm terrified of a future of another LNP government. Are you? I'm talking to workers here. I did this last night. Do you want your wages going down further? Do you want more penalty cuts? Do you want more privatisation of everything? Right? You know, that's the question. Or do you want your jobs protected, and do you want, you know... Oh, I just don't. Yeah, united we stand, divided we fall. Absolutely. Okay? You know, snide little comments of, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, if you don't vote them in, mate, Matthew Thomas, you won't see it, will you? All right? If you don't change the government, vote Labor in, you won't see what they'll do. All right? I'm just sick of all this. Somebody here, I mean, a lot of people are confused about the income management voluntary side of it, right? But the thing is, they want to get rid of the Hindu cashless debit card privatisation of Social Security, right? If you look under Milindari McCarthy's post, go to her page, Somebody asked her today, will they stop the basics card? And she said yes. But they will look at a different program for a voluntary income management system. Because the basics card is issued by Indu as well. So it's logical. If you're going to get rid of the privatisation, you're going to get rid of the whole company, you're going to start again from scratch. Right? You know, I just don't understand why people cannot understand. No, basics card will not become Indu because Indu will be out of the picture. Nellie Jane, this is it. The contract will end. ALP will not be using Indu. They don't want privatised social security. They want to take it back out of the private company of Indu, and they want to make sure that if they have a program of voluntary income management, that it's run by Centrelink, it's run by the government. It's then accountable to you and me and the Senate, right? Right? If you want to shut down neoliberalism and the privatisation of services, then you get rid of the LNP because they're the one who are privatising all of the services, Bernadette. That's the bottom line, right? Because Labor has never privatised our services. Not like this. This is ridiculous. Yeah. I don't mean to be. I'm stressed about because I'm just sick of people nitpick, and they don't understand. And I keep trying to explain it, and it's still not getting out there, and I don't understand how to do it. And it's like, and then somebody, Pat Orr, Labor voted for the trials that started initially, right? Stop blindly defending the ALP. Pat Orr, we already know that Labor initially voted for the trials because they were led to believe it was a 1-year trial. They weren't given the information. I'll tell you when Bill Shorten, who was at the time opposition leader, first saw the Indu terms and conditions, when I gave them to him in Bundaberg in 2017. Up until that, the LNP had not even given any LNP or crossbench senator a copy of the Indu terms and conditions that card holders were held under. So they didn't know. But we gave them that information, and we stood there for 30 minutes with his senior policy advisor going through. We'd highlighted it all, and they were like, oh my God. And after that, they took away their support for the card and they started doing their own investigation into it, right? And, you know, and then this year, the caucus voted to stop the card completely. That's a hell of an achievement. Because we didn't have, when I started ringing back in 2016 and 17, I had huge big fights with Jenny Macklin's staffers and stuff like that, right? I had huge big fights because a lot of the staffers didn't know the difference between cashless debit card or basics card. They had no clue because they didn't know what it was about. The Liberal Party didn't tell them, okay? And it used to drive me nuts, and I'd end up screaming down the phone at them. But they caught up. They caught up and they've learned, all right? Nellie Jane says here, it can't have income management without the services. That's right. The services were promised and they never arrived. Right? And we all hated Jenny Macklin, yeah. Okay. But the services didn't show up. So, look. Yeah. Somebody says here, we can't have income management without rehabs and psychologists, and that's what was promised initially to all of the parliament. But they never eventuated with doing it. It wasn't, and you know, mainstream media of misinformed, disinformed, propaganda and everything. This is what we're up against, okay? I mean, I did have huge fights with Jenny Macklin's staff, and it was horrendous. But once I got to meet Bill Shorten and I was able to talk to his staff and show him the evidence, it was a big difference. And they voted against the Hinkler rollout. They voted against the Kalgoorlie rollout, right? And from 2017 on, they've voted against it. Apart from that one hiccup, that one stuff up regarding the FRC basics card. Yeah, Labor's only mistake was thinking initially that the LNP had morals. Yeah, as if they don't. We know definitely now, you know. You know, even Jackie Lambie said, all stick, no carrot. You know. Yeah, this government, the LNP government, has shut down almost every government rehab. Okay. LNP have shut down, have closed hundreds of shelters, right? Defunded so many domestic violence support services. They've defunded mentor and support services that were helping disenfranchised youth get through schooling, into housing and into jobs. They cut that down. There was a fantastic program on the Sunshine Coast, and I remember they were begging Chris Pine on the ABC show in 2013, please don't cut us off. And they closed them down. They'd been going for 30 years with a complete success rate. They'd helped 30,000 young people get their lives on track, get into housing and get jobs and get their lives going. But it wasn't good enough because it wasn't Serena Russo who was being awarded all the contracts. All right, all they were worried about was privatising to their mates. And I'm just getting sick of I don't understand a lot of the comments on here that we've been seeing. Some of them I've just out and out removed because I've not known it on our pages where people have actually, you know, another one. I don't believe for 1 minute they're just another arm of the Liberal Party. No, they're not. No, they're not. And they're not perfect either. The ALP are not perfect by any means. But they're better than what we bloody well got. Do you want to lose Medicare? Do you want us all to be on cashless debit cards? Do you want our public schools to be in the toilet? Jesus Christ, a lot of them have got broken toilets, can't even get them fixed. Right? You know, private schools get orchestra pits and swimming pools and the best of everything, and our public schools are suffering. Right? I mean, you've even got Keith Pitt announcing some sort of housing fund. It's not going to happen. Because last week he was blaming the state member for Hervey Bay for the housing crisis that his cashless debit card and all their policies have brought into the Bundaberg region. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, right? And it's just so frustrating for us because we're copying it in inbox, we're copying it in comments, we're copying it on Twitter, and it's like, for God's sakes, give us a break. Spent 6 years, and all through that 6 years, right, was basically, why isn't ALP speaking publicly against the cashless debit card? Well, they were, and they have been, and there's video evidence to back it up on our pages. Just go to the videos. The videos are loaded there for everybody to see. There's even a post on the page that was put up recently of all of the videos of all of the senators talking against the card, right? And the vote against the card. It's all there. So everyone's going, why isn't ALP speaking publicly against the card? ALP stands up and says, we're going to scrap the cashless debit card and make income management voluntary. And everybody's going, but. And it's like, oh, for God's sakes. What can I do? What can I do? It's in your hands how you vote. All right? I will be voting ALP 1, Greens 2 on the top. All right? And on the bottom one for the Senate, I will be putting Greens 1, ALP 2, and Australian progressives. I'll be putting them in there, okay? And the rest I'll have to look at. So, you know, yeah. You're right there. Under LNP, only the millionaire class, right, will prosper. You know what I mean? Under a Labor government, ordinary people get a chance to stand up. Ordinary people get a look in at living, get access to medical, you know, so, yeah. All I can do, that's how you've got to understand how exhausting this is. You may not see us around during the day, but our inbox, our Twitter, the comments on 18 different pages, right, come in constantly. Yeah, Liberals do it to you, Labor do it for you. Put it this way, Scotty told everybody, you know, you have to have a go. It's time for him to go. And the only way to make that happen is to change the government. And just the reality is the Greens and the minority parties can't do it. So don't risk your vote. Do it for a party that can change the government and give the Greens the tools to be able to back them up. You know? I would love to see the Greens have more seats too. And I'm not a Greens voter. And I'm not an ALP voter either. Right? But I know that the independent party that I would like to vote can't take 76 seats in Parliament all by itself. So, I put away my personal thing of who I would like to vote for the betterment of everybody else. Right? Because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. Okay? And the needs of the many are us, all of us out here, all of us ordinary workers, all of the people on disabilities, all of the ordinary people, the 200,000 kids we've got coming out of school every year that need jobs and they need hope, right? And they need guidance and they need mentorship and they need somebody to stand up there like I had and go, wow, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, just have a bit of initiative, give people freedom. Our kids are coming out of a compliance system, comply, into a system of comply, beat you over the head with a big stick, right? And they wonder why our kids are despondent. But they're not giving them any hope. Our kids know they're not going to be able to buy houses like I could. I mean, the only reason why I don't own a house now is because of a work injury that put me on a DSP and an arsehole bank that decided, oh, you can't afford your mortgage, when I could. And they took my house off me, right? Why? I don't know. Never found out to this day. They just decided no. So much for mortgage insurance. That was the biggest scam out, wasn't it? Pay your mortgage insurance in case anything goes wrong. Yeah. So, look, people, you want to stop the card? There's a party who's going to do it. You know what I mean? They've got the power to do it. The Greens will definitely always vote against the cashless debit card. So Labor knows that if they can get a majority in the House, they know that they've got the Greens vote behind them to back them up. Okay? All right? But all this anti-Labor nitpicking and all this sort of thing, we don't have the liberty at this time in history to be dilly-daddling because there's just so much on the line now. Do we become Little America or do we save Australia and look after Australians? Do you want your kids to be treated like the American system where they have to user pay on everything and be on income management and be bullied and harassed by all the job agencies and the Parents Next and all these punitive programs and comply? Or do you want a system where that people have got the pressure taken off of them and there's assistance there to help lift people up, not keep a boot on their necks? That's the choices you've got, right? This is ramping up to be an election issue, right? My attitude to you guys is, are you going to join the no card army with me, right? And when they call that election, will you wear T-shirts with me outside pre-polling booths and educate people? Will you do that with me, right? Because I'm going to need lots of volunteers across the country to do that. And if you want to get involved, let me know. Let me know. If you seriously want to do this, you want to stop this card, right? You don't have to go out there and hand out how to vote cards for Labor. You could go to a pre-poll when the time comes and hand out our leaflet and just talk to people wearing one of our shirts, okay? You can do it. I do it. I've done it for 3 elections, 2 state elections and a federal election up here. It's perfectly legal to do it, okay? So are you going to join our no card army? And you're going to do this? Because we would love to have people across the whole country. So when people go to vote, right, they know what Labor's talking about, scrapping the cashless debit card. Somebody standing there in a T-shirt handing out a leaflet saying, well, this is what they're going to stop. And we're going to need lots of volunteers for that. So let us know in the inbox if you're up for it, okay? Send us an inbox and your phone number and what region you're in. And I can then probably let our admins know in which state you're in as to who they've got that they can call on in their region. All right? If you haven't got a shirt, send me a message. Okay? And while we're out about doing protesting type things, if you can't wait and you want to protest something you don't know how to, take a look on the page at what Josephine's been doing. She's been going around outside Liberal Party members' offices and giving them the finger, okay? If you want to go and do that, take a selfie and send it to us. I'm sure there's plenty of LNP officers out there that you could do that. The page has message us on it. Nellie Jane, you should be able to send the page a message. Yeah, so just message the page. But yeah, I just wish people would stop nitpicking and going, oh, you can't trust Labor, blah, blah, blah. Well, we've all had a gut full of LNP. The country's in the toilet. We're known across the world as the cruelest country in the world. We lock up little kids, and then when they damn near die of sepsis, we need I go on, right? Seriously, how can anybody in their right mind excuse the behaviour of the LNP, even if you don't look at the social welfare cruelty, right? The sleaze that's been going on in Parliament House should be enough for people to be absolutely, alleged rapes of staff, using a prayer room as a pleasure room. Come on. Jeez. This is not behaviour for honourable members. They don't deserve to be in those seats getting those wages. Put people in there who do deserve it. Simple as that. And Labor are not afraid to instigate a federal ICAC. And I've spoken to Labor members before, and their attitude is, even if some of their own get wrapped up in it, the place needs a broom going through it. And it does. Right? Instead of privatisation and jobs for their mates and money for their mates, and they're scrapping every dollar out of every poor person's pocket, every worker's pocket. Where's all the money going? Why are we $1 trillion in debt when they've cut so many services, right? And withdrawn so much funding, okay? They've withdrawn so much funding away from services and stuff for the community, saying that we needed to cut this and we need to cut that, we need to save this. But where's the savings going? How come we got $1 trillion worth of debt? Where's the money gone? Sports rorts, water rorts, every kind of fucking rort you can think of. They're driving around in luxury cars. They're living in luxury homes. They're not sitting on the concrete in a Melbourne street freezing their asses off, are they? Like photos that I've seen from the National Homeless Collective in the last day or so of people sleeping on the concrete in Melbourne streets. They're not doing it tough, right? We've got card holders that are going homeless. We've got card holders that are escaping or trying to escape DV that have got their lives at risk. This mob aren't suffering. LNP members aren't suffering. Their kids aren't suffering. How much more suffering does this country have to take before people stand up and say, we've had enough? Because I've sure as well had enough. And I don't want my daughter to have to live under their shit governance. Okay? And it was Centre Alliance, who are Rebecca Sharkey and Sterling Griff, who let this card continue for another 2 years. Right? Don't forget that. Don't blame Labor. Right? Blame Centre Alliance, Rebecca Sharkey and Sterling Griff. Didn't even have any form of a backbone to even show up for the vote that night. Didn't even have the courage or the guts, having done a deal with the government, the LNP, right? They didn't have the courage to come into the chamber and vote with the LNP. Sterling Griff ran away. He went home. He left the building. Okay, stop blaming Labor, because Labor did not cause this card to be extended this time at all. And they voted against it with the Greens, and the Greens have been staunch and stolid against it for years. They've opposed income management for years. They've opposed the cashless debit card from the day dot, right? Rachel Seward is an absolute bloody hero, okay? Don't get me wrong. But, yeah. So Caitlin says, who made the card extended? Centre Alliance, Caitlin Jade, right? Sterling Griff and Rebecca Sharkey. They were the ones that caused it to be extended, because they promised everybody they would not vote for the card to be extended if they didn't have the evaluation. And they didn't have the evaluation, so they should have voted against it. They promised everybody that for 2 years. And when it came to the thing, they made a deal with the government. They didn't even show up for the vote. Right? Giving the government enough pull. Oh, of course, don't forget Pauline Hanson and her mob. But Pauline Hanson is so dumb, it's unbelievable. There's a video on our page. Look, Pauline seems to think that the disability support pension is invalid pension still. She doesn't seem to understand that. Pauline can't understand that people over 36 are on the card. She thinks they all volunteered to go on it. Really? I don't think so. Kalgoorlie, Ceduna and Kununurra, Wyndham, Menzies, Canambla, Kilgardy, Leonora, Laverton, yeah, and all the APY lands did not volunteer to go on the card, Pauline. You know, she seems to think anybody who's in their 60s is not on the card. Like you've got poor Joycelyn in Ceduna that just got put back on the card in March, 65 years of age. You know, yeah, Pauline's a lost cause, right? If you want to vote away everything, she just got rid of the family court, right? Oh, by the way, Centre Alliance got rid of your, you know, they stuffed up your university for poor kids. Okay, don't forget that affects your kids as well. All of this affects your kids. All right? But Pauline would have all single mothers off of pensions. She's buggered up the family law court, right? And if she had her way, there'd be no social security after 6 months like the American system. And she wanted work camps out in the desert for unemployed people. Right, so, yeah, if you vote Pauline Hanson, you're voting for LNP anyway. So, there's no difference there. I mean, she was a Liberal beforehand, and even though they locked her up, She forgave them all and still gives them her votes. Yes, she wanted unemployed people out collecting cane toads, right, for their welfare. Remember that? Oh, why don't people go and get cane? Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say, hang on, who do we put last when we're voting? LNP, One Nation, and whichever other right-wing idiots go on the bottom. They all go on the bottom. All right, ALP and Greens up the top. Australian Progressives is another one you can put up the top. But the rest of them go down the bottom. It's the easiest way to describe it. That's the way I'm going to do it. I'm not telling you how to vote. That's the way I'm going to do it. One Nation, the whole lot. We could all go on the bottom. All right, Centre Alliance, yep. If you're in South Australia, definitely. The South Australian senators. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, we need... I just can't believe the state this country's in. And it comes down to greed. It comes down to profits over people. And we're giving $19,000 a minute to the fossil fuel lobbyists. And that's what I was going to say before too. At the beginning of this fight, I used to scream and yell at the senators, the staffers. We didn't come into this fight with brown paper bags. We're not lobbyists. We had nothing but people. And we've come out swinging. We've come out after 6 years with turning a federal party around. From supporting the card to not supporting the card to stopping the card to now fighting to stop the card completely if they get in. What more do you want, people? You know what I mean? And like I said to those staffers, we don't have bags of money to come and lobby you with. So we did what we could. That opportunity in 2017 where I got to go and meet Bill Shorten, not once, but twice, but the first time. And there's a photograph in the photos of me handing him a white folder, because back in those days, the card hadn't come to Hinckley yet, and I couldn't get hold of the booklet, right? I just couldn't get hold. Oh, I haven't got it here. I've got another booklet somewhere, and I can't find it. But I couldn't get hold of the booklet. So we downloaded it all, and we photocopied it for him, and we put it in a ring binder. You know what I mean? And there's a photo of me giving it to him. That was back in 2017. And, you know, yeah. Look, there's a lot of work to do. Let's get them over the line. Let's change this government. Let's stand up as a community, say, right, we need to change this, and then we make them change the policies. Right? We know they're going to get rid of the cashless debit card. We need to pin them down on a better social security rate of payment. They're already aware of that, and they're already talking about raising all the payments anyway, but they won't give a figure out. Remember, they're politicians and they've got political strategies. You know, let's just work on this. Get them over the line, and then we can work on the rest. Bill is very genuine with the NDIS, and he was very good with me regarding the cashless debit card. The first time I met him, he spoke to me 3 times that night. It was a public event with like 300 people, but he gave me 3 times speaking to me, and he gave me his senior policy manager for 30 minutes, which is unheard of. You know what I mean? It took a lot longer for us to go and visit Linda Burney, but eventually we did, and we got like an hour and a half with her. It took a long time to get down to her office, but we did. But we did it without brown paper bags, okay? We did it with facts. We did it with card holders telling their stories. We did it with people. We didn't do it with brown paper bags and professional lobbyists. Okay? You guys helped do it every time you guys rang up and pushed the senators. Alright? When we did the protests. When we do more protests. Alright? That's a lot of work that we've all done over the last 6 years. George Mason, we need a media spokesperson. I am it. That's it. Have you got no idea how much media have I done? Oh my God. I have been on local TV up here so many times, it's unbelievable. I've been on national television. No, we haven't made it to the project yet. They've let us down twice, where they've rang us up and said, we want to do this. But I've been present, they edited me out completely, but on the 7:30 report, ABC, the first version of it, I'm in it. The second version that's on YouTube, they've cut me out. There is another interview that they did, and I got a couple more words in, even though we filmed for 3.5 hours. Not for lack of trying, you know what I mean? I've been in papers all across the country, right? We have been doing this for 6 years. And recently, I've done some other media that will be released next week. Okay, Saturday week, there'll be some other media being released. So, and whenever there's an issue with the card in my region and it's coming up in the media, Triple M ring me and they use my words on the radio, even though I don't hear it because I don't have a radio, right? And 7 News Wide Bay come to my home regularly and do articles. I don't let them in the house, of course, but we do it under the carport. The last time I had to go out, they met me at the council chambers, and we did the media there. You know what I mean? So we've been doing the media for 6 years, and the media rings me. And I've spoken to ABC Esperance, I've spoken to Darwin, I've spoken at 4 Senate inquiries, 2 SM, Marcus Paul in the morning. He gave me like 15 minutes on air in January. That was absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, it's amazing the amount of media that I've done. And I try and encourage card holders to do media as well. It's difficult, you know, because media will come to me and say, I'm just reading the comments. "3CR Community Radio," yep, Reality Bites. Okay. We've done several podcasts with him. And I've done a couple of breakfast interviews as well. Been on air, you know. I'm sorry I'm not a celebrity. Do the best I can. You know, I'm just a person on a DSP. Anyway, I'm going to go with that. Yeah, we helped Juice Media with their cashless warfare card, and we also did a podcast with Juice Media on that as well. That's out there online. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a celebrity. You just have to put up with me. All right, see you guys.